Hey folks, I do good here. If you don't know what I do, I just trying to straighten out the world. You know, everybody keeps complaining the world's a crazy place and misinformation and not enough information. So I'm just going to take some topics that I find interesting, and I'm just going to kind of put them through this Word document, and then that way you guys can read it, think about it, look up stuff as well. No point in just staring at my face as I'm just talking here. But first topic I'm doing here is diabetes. It's free of charge. This is the sort of cure to diabetes. So diabetes, just so everybody knows, what is it and what can you do about it? Diabetes, also known as diabetes mellitus, literally translates to sweet honey urine. Diabetes is an excess of blood sugar. Okay, everybody knows that, and then the blood sugar spills over, removed out of the body by the kidneys, and then that's how they got the name diabetes mellitus, Latin for sweet honey urine. Type 1 diabetes, the body does not make insulin. Those folks need to do injections in order to survive. Type 2 diabetics actually make insulin, but the body ignores it. It's called insulin resistance, and it's type 2 that I'll be focusing on. So how metabolism works, I'm going to break it down for you. Very simply, body takes in food, protein, fat, and carbohydrates, breaks that down to simple building blocks called amino acids, shorter fat molecules, and monosaccharides, respectively, for that list: protein, fat, and carbohydrates. It absorbs those simple building blocks into the blood, and with carbohydrates specifically, the body breaks them down into monosaccharides. One of these is glucose, also fructose is another one. There's about 4, 5, 6 of them that are very common that the body breaks things down into. Insulin is needed to help pull the glucose molecules, though, into each body cell. That's how you make energy, is by pulling that sugar in to your tissues. So while you might think you get a lot of energy from eating protein, you don't. If you ever notice, a marathon runner does not eat T-bone steaks right before they run a marathon. They load up on pasta the day or 2 days before to help build up their complex carbohydrate stores, so they have that during the race. Fat is also a great source of energy. Obviously, the marathon runners are not very fatty people, but those high endurance, high level athletes are very, very lean because they're burning those fats as well. But you do need the carbohydrates, and it will break down to sugar, will break down to glucose, and you need insulin to do that. If your body produces, that's now we're into C here, sorry I babble a lot. If you produce insulin too frequently, your body will try to ignore it. That's insulin resistance. If your body ignores it, I apologize, stick the R in there while I'm at it here. And if your body ignores it, glucose will remain in your bloodstream. Okay, so if you're ignoring your insulin, you can't pull the glucose in to your cells. It'll be stuck in your blood. It becomes too elevated, and you become type 2 diabetic. If unchecked, you might undergo ketoacidosis, and that's not something you want, your body producing a bunch of ketones. Just as an aside, I'm always baffled by the promoters of keto diets. I try to keep my patients from building up ketones, and these kind of folks actually encourage and promote people to do this to themselves for these keto diets. Ketones can be used as energy by the brain. That's the only tissue that can use them. Brain uses a lot of things as energy, including simple sugars as well from the breakdown of carbohydrates. Building up ketones on purpose, though, is not a healthy choice. Did you know that nail polish remover is a ketone? Okay, so yeah, it dissolves paint, it dissolves organic materials, and you really don't want that in your body having an excess of ketones. So as I digress, I want to repeat the important stuff. If you produce too much insulin too frequently, your body will ignore it. If your body ignores it, here we go again, the glucose remains in your bloodstream, and you can become a type 2 diabetic. If unchecked, you can undergo ketoacidosis, so we need to focus on not continuously producing insulin. So we can take our type 2 diabetics who are making too much insulin and ignoring it, and we can actually revert them back to a normal person that is not diabetic. Okay, so we can make them normal again. So as a bit of perspective, do you know a diabetic? Do you know what physicians tell their patients if they feel like their blood sugar is low? Eat a snack, have a Snickers bar, eat a piece of candy. Eating increases insulin production, which only leads to more resistance and the body ignoring it. So that's actually a bad idea. So let's move on. 3 links to type 2 diabetes. Obesity is one of the 3 things I'm going to talk to you about. In 2004, an article came out called Insulin Resistance and Changes in Plasma Concentrations of TNF alpha, that's tumor necrosis factor alpha, in dogs during weight gain and obesity. It's in the Journal of Animal Physiology and Animal Nutrition. It's a study in dogs. You can just type that into an internet search and you will find the study. Tumor necrosis alpha, TNF alpha. Tumor necrosis factor. It's a compound in the blood that got its name by being present when cancer cells are dying. So when you have cancer and those cells are dying, you should have tumor necrosis factor. That's how they discovered it. That's where they found it. It is in obese patients. It's in obese patients even though they don't have cancer and their cells are not dying. So obesity is, in fact, a disease. It's one of the reasons it's hard to lose weight, why people can be depressed, why the body has chronic ailments, why you just don't feel good while you're trying to eat better and do better. Your body is worn down because of these specific pro-inflammatory molecules in your blood. So how do we get a person to lose weight? I make it very simple. Reduce your food and calorie intake by 25% for a month. Reduce it again next month by a new 25%. Here's an example. If you eat 1 chicken breast per day, make it 3/4 of a chicken breast. A month later, reduce that 3/4 of a chicken breast by another 25%. So we're not quite down to a half, but we're getting there, down to half a chicken breast. Do that with all your food groups, everything that you eat, and keep track of it. If you do that once a month, less food in your mouth will be less food in your belly, and you will burn fat just by doing that. Second link is sedentary lifestyle. Okay, it's not necessarily the person. Look, we work sitting down, we watch TV to relax. We don't feel like we have a lot of free time. We need to get our bodies out there and get our bodies moving. The body should burn off carbohydrates first and store the fat for later. So when you eat carbs, fat, and protein, you should burn off the carbs, store the fat, and the protein is just used to replenish the proteins that you've used in your body through just normal metabolism in everyday life. As a grown adult, you don't need an excess of protein, so eating an all-meat diet can put your liver and kidneys at risk, so you got to be cautious with that. But without activity, it stores carbs and fat as fat. Okay, so without activity, you're going to take everything, you're just going to store it as fat. And then it's also inefficient at burning both when you do need to get rid of those things. So how do we do a little exercise to help the body metabolize and mobilize? Just a little bit of exercise. 10 minutes a day for 2 to 4 weeks. Just walking is fine. Even if it's in your living room, pace across the room. It's okay to start slow. Gradually increase that to 20 minutes every day. Then incorporate some inclines or stairs. Okay, you don't need to sweat or lose your breath, especially not starting off. If you are breathing hard, if your muscles are sore after you work out, it's because you worked out inefficiently. You did anaerobic exercise. You want aerobic exercise. You want to be able to breathe, get the carbon dioxide out, let your body tissues burn the fat, burn the calories, and not build up lactic acid and nasty things in your tissues. So you don't need to sweat or lose your breath to lose weight, especially not starting off. Just need to teach your body how to use that muscle to mobilize fat. Later, you can increase the intensity. There's plenty of 20-minute online videos you can download. No one will be judging you. Just start easy and stay healthy. So the third link, so we talked about obesity, we talked about sedentary lifestyle. The third link, and I think this is the most important, is the chronic eating and drinking. Now, I don't mean just alcohol, I mean just drinking things that are not water. So subsection I here, eating less will help people lose weight, of course. Exercise will help metabolism, sure. But here's what I'm about to show you. The plan is for folks with type 2 diabetes is eat 3 meals a day. Don't snack in between, and drink water between meals. No pop, no diet drinks, no tea, no coffee with sugar, no artificial sweeteners in your drinks either. Okay, so if you're in between meals and you feel like you're snacking and you're type 2 diabetic, you need to just drink water. If you think your blood sugar is low, you probably need to check your blood sugar just to confirm that it's not. But how does this help? Remember, the body releases insulin every time you eat food or drink sweetened beverages. It does not release insulin when you just drink water. But drinking beverages, even artificially sweetened ones, you will release insulin. Everything's being prepared for digestion. Here's a link you can look up. The title of the article is The Effect of Artificial Sweetener on Insulin Secretion in the Rat. 1987 article. They looked at an artificial sweetener and actually confirmed that it does. An artificial sweetener does increase your insulin secretion. So if you think by drinking a diet soft drink you're going to improve your condition of type 2 diabetes, you're not going to. You're actually going to maintain it, potentially even make it worse. So subsection 2 here, remember, type 2 diabetes is caused by insulin resistance, right? That means your body makes it, but chooses not to respond. With each meal, with each snack, with each sip of a drink that isn't water, the body secretes a little bit more insulin, okay? Developing more resistance and making this problem continue for you. If you don't want to be type 2 diabetic, we need to start with just eating 3 meals a day. But if you feel low blood sugar, if you're not diabetic, it's not low. Your body's just going to maintain it normally. You're probably just thirsty and you don't really know how to interpret that signal. If you are a type 2 diabetic, what does your doctor tell you to do? Eat a piece of candy? Yeah, and increase your insulin output. That's just a bad idea, but of course they really do advise people to do this. Instead, buy a glucometer. If your blood test comes back as normal, then don't eat, just drink some water. If your blood test does come back as low and you are a diabetic, eat something right away so your blood sugar doesn't go too low, and call your doctor immediately, because if you're on medications, you probably need them adjusted. Between meals, again, you can drink water, but during meals, you can drink anything you want. Why? Because though water won't stimulate insulin release, causing more insulin resistance, water between meals, you want to maintain that lack of insulin production so that you are going to help correct your diabetic condition. But during meals, your body will already be producing insulin. Okay, so you're eating food, your body's secreting insulin anyway. So any beverage that isn't water will be fine. I still tell people to shy away from the artificial sweeteners, just because there's just not a lot of information, a lot of research on those things, but we do know they can be detrimental. All right, that's it. And it really is that simple. If you're type 2 diabetic and you don't want to be diabetic, then what you have to do is eat 3 meals a day. Don't snack between meals. Check your blood sugar if you feel like your blood sugar is low. Having water between meals is fine, but avoid artificial sweeteners and otherwise sweetened soft drinks as much as you can. Teas, coffees, anything like that. A little exercise will help. Reducing your food intake a little at a time will help too. That's just to help encourage your body to metabolize properly. But just eating meals and not snacking between and avoiding sugary drinks will definitively, absolutely, positively, guaranteed help reduce your insulin resistance and potentially revert you from a type 2 diabetic to a normal blood sugar person again. But always consult your doctor. Let them know what you're doing differently. One more thing before I get out of here is, since we're talking about carbs and sugars, it's one of those things that I always chuckle at when people talk about sugar, table sugar, refined sugar, blah, blah, blah. So whether it's refined sugar, cane sugar, other sugars, here you go. Section B here, table sugar is made up of sucrose. Sucrose is made up of 2 molecules, glucose and fructose stuck together. Cane sugar is made of sucrose, made of 2 molecules, glucose and fructose stuck together. Beet sugar, all right, let's get more healthy. Sucrose, it's made of 2 molecules, glucose and fructose. How about high fructose corn syrup? I apologize for stuttering over my words. High fructose corn syrup, it's the enemy of enemies, right? It's what's in my pancake syrup, and I think it tastes delicious. What is it made of? You got it, 2 molecules, glucose and fructose stuck together. So, and to anyone who didn't know, now you do know. Your body doesn't care what the carbohydrate's called. Every carbohydrate is going to break down to the most simple building block. So if we're talking about sugar, we're talking about something sweet. We're most likely talking about something that's going to be broken down to glucose and fructose. Again, there are other monosaccharides out there, but those are just the 2 most common, and anything really related to sugar or sweet is going to be ultimately broken down to those things. Even complex ones like rice and potatoes, the body's still going to break it down to monosaccharides in order to absorb it and metabolize it. So last bit is, if we didn't refine it, we wouldn't have molasses and we wouldn't have delicious chocolate chip cookies. So please, let's not bark down the tree of sugar issues, because I like sugar and I like cookies. So anyway, that's it. But honestly, folks, be well. Lots of love. Take care.